everyone, and welcome to another episode of GCV's Fire for Effect, our sometimes daily podcast where I just kind of rip it on a couple of topics, especially when I don't feel like writing. I'm recording this on 6 May. Yesterday, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, whose brother had a previous business relationship here, shoulder to shoulder for the podcast, announced that there was a new policy called GOs, more GIs. And basically, bottom line up front, the bluff, if you will, is that he's going to fire like 20% of the GOs or cut. And this is what I want to say. When I saw that, man, I was happy. I'm not going to lie. Now, like I said before this whole thing started, if you don't hold the military accountable for losing wars and poor performance, then your political opponents will do it for you. It's been evident for a while that the DoD has not been performing very well. Let me just take you through some of the greatest hits. The Afghan debacle, which incorporated 4 different presidencies, which I served under every one of them. It's a bipartisan disaster. So, like, if you're a Democrat and you go, well, what about the Doha Agreement? And if you're a Republican and you go, what about, the Kabul bombing or whatever? And you just go like this. This is my response. It don't matter anymore. Who fucking cares whose fault it is? Maybe we could just learn our fuckers. Anyway, I mean, look, I understand that this move will probably irritate a lot of people from my party. There's a lot of consternation. And look, I don't think it's unjustified. I think that President Trump is transforming the military. He's transforming the intelligence services. He's transforming the national security state. And why wouldn't he? I would. Shit. What comes afterward? I don't know. Who knows? Hell. It's going to be interesting, though. Look, is there any way that Pete Hegseth could, live stream when they, fire some of the generals? Because I would pay top money for that shit right here. For somebody to take accountability. I mean, anybody. For all the disasters. Afghanistan. Iraq. That's not a victory. The Gaza Pier fiasco. Wow. Great idea. That only cost a couple of soldiers or sailors their lives. That was a really good one. The Ukrainian counteroffensive. We could go on and some really shitty performances by the DoD. For some reason, we never hold ourselves accountable inside the DoD. It's a lot of the State Department did it, which has like a tenth of the size. They blame the politicians, which is fine. The politicians and the national inside of the apparatus deserve blame, and the voters do that by voting them in and out of office. So the only way to hold general officers accountable is to fire them. And he's right. We're way too top heavy. I mean, the amount of combatant commands and subcomponent commands. If you look at the DoD hierarchy, I swear to God, it'll make your head spin. Just try to understand it. You could spend an entire career, and I still didn't really understand how the DoD worked. It is a gargantuan entity that only a bunch of small C conservatives could be running. It's the greatest cell phone of all time. I'll be honest with you. It's a small C conservative. It's a bunch of guys like that are just that have created the world's biggest bureaucracy that has lost multiple wars. I mean, I'm sorry. I think it's a great idea. Now, who knows what's going to happen next? That's going to be the best part. You see, we're going to get to find out what's next. He's going to transform the military. There's going to be military parades. The military will not be the same after Donald Trump. Now, that happens kind of with every president, but I think this one's going to be different. I'm putting my marker out there. When we look at the United States military, it will be before Trump and after Trump. It'll be a big inflection point. I'm interested to see what Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is going to do, that type of criteria he's going to pick for some of the new general officers, what they're looking for. Because right now, man, there's a lot of 06s whose dreams are just crushed. A lot of 07s who were thinking, 2, 3, maybe 4. Those dreams are going away. And you know what? That's fine. They'll be fine, people. There's nothing wrong with just being a lieutenant colonel. There's nothing wrong with being a major, retiring as a major. Iron majors, great, love them. Who cares? More GIs, less GOs. I like it. I like it because it reminds the public of one thing. The general officers are public servants, and you should fire them at will. Or every officer, commander, whatever, knows that at a certain point in time, you might be asked to walk the plank, and off with your head you go. Hey, man, it's just part of the game. And usually, even if you get fired and you don't make it, you still get to get out with your 20. And if you're worth a shit, you probably at least took care of yourself as an officer and you were able to, document all your ailments. So you try to get that nice disability pay. All of these 06s that will make us will be just fine. It's going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Dreams die. The military changes. We have lost the global war on terrorism. I mean, are we even fighting it? What's going on? Who knows? Are we friends with the Taliban? Are we not? I have no idea. Why did we recognize Jelani in Syria? I have no idea. At this point in time, the DoD is so fucked up. They don't even know who their enemies are anymore. The national security state, the geniuses, all those people with the fancy degrees from all the right schools, they're the ones that have convinced all of us that somehow we should be dealing with the Taliban, even though they're still allied with Al Qaeda, who conducted the 9/11 attacks that killed 3,000 Americans. Somehow they've convinced us that it's our fault, but that we just don't understand the intricacies of international relations theory to think that maybe there's something wrong with us going to Syria and being, after an hour, saying a former Al Qaeda commander is pragmatic. Look, there are arguments to all this type of shit, and I'm happy to listen to them, I suppose. But here's one thing that I want all those people who are going to look at this and they're going to be like, and maybe it'll turn out to be a fascist takeover, blah blah blah, whatever. Could be. I wouldn't give it a very high probability, but hey, let's just say that Donald Trump has earned, more than earned, a wary eye at what he's doing. At the end of the day, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. Democrats had their opportunity over 4 years to hold the military accountable for Afghanistan, for Iraq, to make real structural changes, and instead they passed the PACT Act, and they never admitted that they lost the war in Afghanistan. No, no, no. Secretary of Defense Austin, who is supposedly untouchable, a guy who retreated everywhere. I just have no qualms about this. Good for him. I hope that the next thing he does is he really thinks about what's going to happen next. That's going to be the most important part, because firing people is easy. Hell, that's the easy part. Get rid of those sons of bitches over there. But now is the next step. What are you going to do then? Who are you going to build? Who are you going to pick? What type of cadre are you looking for? Are you going to change professional military education? Are you going to change the way the officer performance reports are written? How are you going to change the way that officers are built? Is it always every officer is just going to be on a career trajectory to be the next GO? Or do you actually give some of the officers some autonomy to pick and choose the career that makes sense to them? I don't know, like every other profession in the world. Sometimes, look, I don't know if this is going to work, but as one of my friends, and I live in a deep red state, and one of my very, very good friends, who is brilliant, by the way, and he voted for Trump. Every time I bring stuff like this up, this is what he tells me. And there's a little simplicity in it. Well, at least he's trying something. You know what? It's not hard to argue. It's hard to argue with that. It really is. Because he's like, he'll say right back to me, do you feel like Biden did anything after you guys got your asses kicked in Afghanistan? And you know what? Fair. Fair. And that's not saying that it's the troopies' fault that we lost the war in Afghanistan. Nothing further from the truth. But at the end of the day, what I would say to my Democratic friends, as I'm a part of, as a John McCain Democrat, no, it works for me just fine. Elections have consequences. It sucks to suck. And we sucked during the election. Sorry. I mean, you won the popular. I don't know. That's an ass kicking. And then, look, for my Republican friends, be careful what you wish for. If you're going to start doing this, boy, oh boy, man, it's going to be huge reverberations if this he actually starts doing and implementing and all this stuff. Regardless, it's having a chilling effect right now on everybody as everybody starts to think about getting out of the military. It will force so many people out that don't even want to stay in. Just by doing this, everybody starts making different calculations. You know what? Again, that might raise your alarms, but again, what were the consequences for the national security state for the 11 attacks? that occurred. Who was held accountable for that? Nobody. For the botched invasion of Iraq, I guess we fired, I don't know, Rumsfeld, sure, whatever. Afghanistan, all of these things that have gone on since the global war on terrorism started. At no time has there been a restructuring of the Department of Defense for its poor performance. I think you're about to get it. Might work, it might not. But hey, we're all just along for the ride anyway. So sit back and enjoy it. I don't know. You know, try to comment it. Try to tell your friends if you don't like it, why you don't like it. But at the end of the day, that's what my dad always said, elections have consequences. Until next time, this is GCV6 and I'm out.